y'all doing this evening? Welcome back to another episode of the Dun's Favorite. It's your boy, the Dun, doing another Atlanta Falcons head coach scouting. And I brought a expert writer or expert podcaster from the Indianapolis Colts, Jake Arthur. How you doing this evening, man?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Thanks so much for having me.
All right. Let everybody know who you are, where they can find you at.
So I cover the Colts for Sports Illustrated right now at allcolts.com. I've been with the team on their official website, colts.com, for the last few seasons. I'm also the host of the Bleav in Colts podcast, and you can pretty much find out all my work on Twitter at Jake Arthur NFL.
Oh, okay. All right. Yep. Thank you for coming on, man.
Absolutely.
All right. Guys, I apologize for all the hometown supporters, people who loyal listeners. I apologize. We didn't do a show Sunday. It was crazy. You know, a lot of stuff happened, a lot of stuff going on, you know, life. So we'll try our best not to miss another episode again. So just that was on me. But if you're new to the channel, you already know what to do. Hit that subscribe button. Also hit that like button. Share this content out with Atlanta sports fanatics. And hit us up in the comment section. As always, come holla at your hometown sports podcast. All right. So, Jake, tell me why I brought you on the show tonight.
Well, I'm here to talk all about Colts defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus. He's definitely one of the hotter head coaching candidates out there, especially with the Colts having another productive season on defense. So,
yes, Coach Eberflus. Yep. I know it's a weird name for you guys, and I'm like, some people don't know who this man is, but hey, you know, this is what I do. You know, I give you guys nothing but the facts. I do my research. I do my homework. I bring on experts who know about these guys. You know, I don't just pull stuff out of my behind and say, "Ooh, this person's good. He won a ring." No, you know. There's more to that. Before we get into it, what's good, Nick? Z, Ultra Shadow, what's good? Z, nice. JF, what's good? Say, finally gonna catch one of these coach videos live. Yes. All right. So let's get into it. Let's get into the nitty gritty of it. So Matt Eberflus, this man have been around a lot of Hall of Fame head coaches in the beginning. All right. He was around Nick Saban back in the days when he was in Toledo. Let me pull it up for you guys so you guys can see what I'm talking about. All right, let me add you in the source. Put you in the back. All right, so he was in Toledo in 92. He was a student assistant coach because he played at Toledo. I think he was a linebacker, I believe. All right. And then in 93, he was bumped up to a graduate assistant. And then in 94, he became the recruiting coordinator and the outside linebackers coach for the team. And then from 96, 97, he became the outside linebackers head coach. So every couple of years, he just been moving up the ranks at that school. And then in 99, he became the defensive backs coach. And then when Gary Perkle, when he became the head coach for Mizzou, he brought along Matt with him, and he was there from 2001 to 2008. He was a DC there. A lot of people don't remember that team. That Mizzou team had one of the best defenses in the country during that time, during that decade. All right, and he recruited some players like Sean Witherspoon and Willie Moe. A lot of my Falcons fans, y'all listening, y'all know who Spoon and Willie Moe is. They went to Mizzou, and guess who coached them, and guess who recruited them? Matt Eberflus. All right. He left the school in 08, went to Cleveland. He became the linebackers coach for the Browns for 09 to 2010. And then he went to Dallas, and he became the linebackers coach there. And he was with the team from 2011 to 2017. And he was the linebackers coach, and then he was the pass game coordinator as well. Now, when the time with the Cowboys, he worked under Mangini and Rob Ryan. So he led David Let's see. Yeah, in 2011, he coached DeMarcus Ware, Ronaldo McClain, and Anthony Hitchens and Sean Lee. A lot of people know about that good linebacker core Dallas had in the early 2010s, and it was a stout linebacker core, and he was coaching it. In 2016, he was promoted to the pass game coordinator, and when he was promoted to that position, they was ranked 15th against the pass that year. So it's average, but you got to think about the secondary Dallas had at that time. They really didn't have that many good players. So, and let's get to 2018 when he got the call to go to Indianapolis to become you guys' defensive coordinator. Before that year, before 2018, y'all was ranked 27th in the league in defense. 2018, y'all became what? Y'all was the 11th ranked defense. Mm-hmm. Groom guys, he drafted Darius Leonard. He made him an all-pro linebacker his rookie season. Tell me about that, man.
Yeah, so his background, I guess his philosophy is a lot of that Tampa 2, cover 2 defense. You saw it with Lovie Smith and Tony Dungy, things like that. 4 down linemen, and they put a really high premium on those linebackers. And Darius Leonard fit exactly what they wanted in that new age of linebacker. He's a lighter linebacker. He's not that 240 type guy, but he's about 6'2". He honestly plays more around 220. So he's like a big safety. But basically he fits the speed and size parameters. He's got really long arms, which helps strip balls and keeps blockers at bay and things like that. But no, he just came on and flipped a switch, and he makes plays all over the field. He's not just a traditional linebacker. You see him rush the passer all the time. Mm-hmm. You see him lined up in the slot. Even when DeAndre Hopkins was with the Texans, it wasn't uncommon to see Darius in a pinch go out and cover him in the slot and even get some pass breakups. Yeah. But Eberflus has relied on Leonard a lot. Traditionally, the Mike linebacker is going to be the one that calls the defense and everything. It's been Leonard really since day one, their will linebacker. And this defense, they know they won't get to the next level unless they have an elite will linebacker, and that's what they know they have in Darius. And Eberflus spends most of his time with the linebackers. When you watch practice and everything, you see linebackers coach Dave Borgonzi, but it's always Eberflus that's leading the drills and everything. He's a very vocal leader, and he just gets the most out of those guys. He's very demanding when it comes to effort and things like that. They have a term called loafing when they on the practice field when they watch film. Basically, if they see you not going at 100% all the time, that's considered a loaf, and they grade that every week, and they'll rip into you in front of the team if they see too many loafs. So
yeah, because go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was gonna say just his style. He gets a lot out of his players, like you mentioned, those Cowboys linebackers. Mm-hmm. Rolando McClain's career was a mess before he came back to the Cowboys, and he resurrected it and played it at a Pro Bowl level. Sean Lee was always really good before he was getting hurt all the time. Exactly. Jalen Smith at the beginning of his career. So he can really get the best out of his players.
Yeah, I've been noticing this for a long time, even in his days at Mizzou. Mm-hmm. Like we know Big 12, even back then, they didn't play no defense, but Mizzou did.
Exactly. You can't win if you can't stop anyone, especially in the Big 12. It's always a race to 40 points, but if you actually have a defense, you stand a fighting chance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So you talked about loaf, and he also have another term, ultra demanding culture of hustle, discipline, and teamwork.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is that? Just tell me what is that? I know the words, but like, why did he have that slogan?
Yeah. So a lot of defensive positions can get kind of pigeonholed into certain things, like cornerbacks, for example. All you have to do is cover and you're fine. No, everyone on Eberflus's defense has to be able to do everything. He's always said that they won't have a good tackling defense at all unless the cornerbacks are tackling. And that's why you see guys like Xavier Rhodes and Rock Ya-Sin and Kenny Moore are some of the best tackling cornerbacks in the NFL. They have the same thing with Kari Willis and Julian Blackman at safety. The hustling, it's not just about giving maximum effort all the time, but they practice at a level that's infectious as well. They're always going above and beyond and trying to like strip the ball. It's not going so well this season, but they usually do really well in forced fumbles. They've only got like one or two fumble recoveries this year, but they usually do much better. But even in practice, and sometimes you see it kind of the offense and defense will get in a little tiff with each other, especially in training camp, because the defense is just trying to rip the ball out. Mm-hmm. And even when they do that, they're expected to recover it and start returning it for a touchdown. So they just practice 100 miles an hour simulating a game at all times. And really, anytime you ask like head coach Frank Reich about the defense or Coach Eberflus, he talks about how strong Eberflus is in his convictions. He believes certain things, and he really won't waver from those. The effort thing, that's something he'll never compromise. The teamwork, you see lots of guys swarming to the ball at all times. It just everyone is expected to work together and work as a unit, especially the defensive line as well. That's why you see they're so good against the run, is they just got guys kind of controlled chaos, but they're not like a gap control team. They just fire off the snap.
Exactly. See, that's what we need without, we're okay against the run. Mm-hmm. It just, we're not generating enough pass rush on our side. And I also wanted to point out that he was voted third in 2018 as the AP NFL assistant head coach of the year. That's huge, because most of the time defensive coaches don't get it. They always normally give it to offense because it's, everybody love to see the offense score points. So
yeah, exactly. That's more flashy. And it was a big turnaround when he got here under Chuck Pagano. Pagano always kind of controlled the defense regardless of who the coordinator was. Mm-hmm. But it was kind of a 3-4 base hybrid thing, gap control. The defensive line wasn't very disruptive. And once Robert Mathis retired, they really never had much of a pass rush either. And they kind of relied on these big, bulky, strong defenders. So when they brought Eberflus in, it was a complete overhaul. The defenders, especially in the front seven, you're going to see are usually a little smaller, but they're always faster and athletic.
See, that's what we have here in Atlanta, though. We have, smaller guys, but, we get bullied a lot.
Yeah, you have the personnel. I think I could see Grady Jarrett and Deion Jones being incredible in his defense, especially Jarrett, because the reason the Colts went out and got DeForest Buckner was because they said they need to have, basically an elite 3 technique defensive tackle, someone who can rush the passer from the middle and, disrupt the run as well. And, Grady Jarrett is a top 5 defensive tackle. So I think he would fit in perfectly with Eberflus's defense.
Okay. All right. And then in 2019, y'all went from 11th to 19th. I know why the drop off happened. And that's when y'all went out and y'all got a guy like Xavier Rhodes, because the secondary, just wasn't up to par. And then now y'all ranked 3rd in defense.
Yeah, it's going a lot better now. 2019, they hit a bump. They did really well. The first few games, it took them a while to be able to stop the run, but then they started performing at a pretty high level like they did in 2018. But then the last quarter of the season, it was weird because it seemed to coincide with Kenny Moore getting hurt. Kenny got a high ankle sprain and missed the last several games. Mm-hmm. And it's like once he went out, the secondary just kind of fell apart. Their defense is one of the tenets of their defense is they don't give up big plays downfield.
Yeah.
because the cover two is just designed that way. They have the two deep safeties. But once Kenny went out, they were playing the same stuff, it seemed, but they were allowing deep shots over the middle. The Buccaneers killed them. The Saints, Drew Brees had a historic night that night. I think he had like the highest completion percentage ever in a game that day. That last quarter of the season was brutal, and it really – they had a respectable defense until that last several games of the season. It just brought all their numbers down.
Yeah.
They weren't generating a pass rush. There were several games it seemed like there was either no sack or they didn't even touch the quarterback. And the defense definitely plummeted like that. But they've got a little better health this year, and their personnel is better. So they've definitely improved.
All right. Now, we fired Arthur Blank fired Dan Quinn and Thomas Dimitroff, who was GM. Now, at that press conference, he said that he wanted a leader among men to be the head coach of this team. Do you think Eberflus fits that description?
Yeah, I think so. People tend to say that a lot. I think he gets along with the players, but his priority isn't to be their buddy. It's to get the most out of them and, to demand maximum effort. And guys will follow that. Bless you. Guys will follow that. I mean, it's why you see the defense performing like they do. And it's interesting because you see them play under his principles, basically. Even if the Colts are getting killed in a game, you see effort. You see them trying to rip the ball out and things like that. It's I don't know. Everything he says he wants to do comes to fruition usually. Guys respond to his leadership, so I would say that he's a leader.
All right. I know the game y'all just played Sunday. Y'all got beat by the Ravens, but the Ravens is a good team. Y'all are great. Y'all a good team too.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I made a list of head coach candidates. Eberflus, I think he is in my top 5. He's not number 1, but the person I have is number 1 is Don Martindale for Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
He just that good. His defense has been top 5 the past few years. So and the thing about him is he's a linebackers coach by trade as well, just like Eberflus.
Yeah.
So either or would be fine with me. But the thing I think that's what stands out with Eberflus is, you like Darius Leonard. All right, guy second round came out of South Carolina State. That pick came out of nowhere. It's just like how we drafted Deion Jones. Drafted him in the second round. More likely, the second round, yes, he will be a starter, but to see a second rounder as a all pro, and he was all pro his first year, that right there speaks volumes. Because, like I said, the problem with the Falcons has always been defensive line, and then our linebacker core has been kind of iffy. And if Eberflus could come in and fix that, that'll be fine, because I know his numbers. He's always been good against the pass. Always been good against the pass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean it's that style of defense, the Tampa 2. It's not uncommon for them to give up kind of a higher completion percentage, but it limits yards after the catch. And I mean, every defense is based on getting a pass rush too. The Colts, obviously, they work best when they're finally getting a pass rush, and it's worked better with DeForest Buckner now. And, Justin Houston is still playing at a high level. But no, it's yeah.
It's like y'all went back to that how y'all were under Dungy when y'all had Dungy as y'all head coach.
Yeah, it limits those big shots downfield, but it's basically all about defending what happens in front of you. Yep. You're not supposed to let anything happen behind you, but just limit everything that happens in front of you, whether it's rushing the passer, swarming to the ball, and limiting yards after catch. They always called it the bend but don't break defense. And honestly, we've seen this defense be a bend but don't break at a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
But when they're healthy and they're playing how we all know they want to,
Mm-hmm.
they limit everything. There's games where they don't even bend. They were honestly killing Baltimore for the whole first half. But in the second half last week, the offense just really couldn't do anything. Like in the third quarter, they ran 4 plays total in the third quarter and at 1 yard. So that kind of just sucked the energy out of the defense because they were on the field the whole time.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were controlling things. They did that against Minnesota, against the Jets. I mean, you expect them to do that against those teams, but
Yeah.
the
Just
Bears
trash.
couldn't do anything. Yeah, it. When the defense is at its best, it can completely overwhelm. It shuts down the run very well because you have fast, athletic, strong front seven defenders, but they can also shut down the pass too. Like Xavier Rhodes has really kind of resurrected his career because I mean Minnesota fans wanted him out the last couple of years, but he's come in and when he's matched up on kind of a bigger, not someone who's faster like Calvin Ridley or Julio Jones, but like a bigger guy like Kenny Galladay, who's not necessarily a speed guy, but he's a jump ball guy.
Yeah.
Xavier Rhodes usually takes those guys completely out of the game.
Yeah.
So the Colts now have the right personnel, and they're really seeing Eberflus's defense how it can play at its best when they have the right personnel in there.
Okay. All right. And when you said bend but don't break defense, that kind of screams to me Dan Quinn because that's what we had here in Atlanta, bend but don't break. But that was a lie. We break more than we bend. And
Yeah.
from what I'm seeing, this is his defense with the Colts. It's not because Frank Reich, he's offensive minded coach, so he's not calling the defense. Eberflus that's his defense. All right. Now, do you really see him leaving Indianapolis after this season?
I think under the right circumstance, I don't think he would just leave to go to any team. I think the coaches and front office people there all kind of like what they have going. And so they're not just going to go just because they're offered a job. I think it would have to be under the right circumstances. The Falcons seem to be a pretty stable organization. Yeah. Like, for instance, if the Browns came calling or, something like that, a team that's in disarray, I don't think he would go. The Jets, things like that. Atlanta would be a good opportunity, I think, because you guys also have similar defensive personnel. Yeah. The defenses aren't all that different, so I don't think he would have to completely rebuild things, at least on the defensive side of the ball. But
they said offense, we need to get rid of Matt Ryan. So,
are you anti Matt Ryan now?
No, I'm not anti Matt Ryan. I love Matt Ryan, but it's just it's just you got to understand the fan base in Atlanta. Understand some of these people just don't understand. They don't understand football. They want to get rid of Matt Ryan.
Oh, there's. When Andrew Luck is not out there under center, the fans don't know what to do about quarterback. Phillip Rivers is already getting, plenty of grief. Jacoby Brissett got it all last year. A lot of people wanted, I mean, it was never going to happen, but a lot of people wanted a Matt Ryan or a Matt Stafford or something at the trade deadline. It's like, you realize Atlanta's not just going to get rid of Matt Ryan. Like, he would have been the next better thing other than Andrew Luck for them for the last while.
Exactly, but like I said, man, fans just here in Atlanta, man, they don't understand it. They don't get it. They just want this man gone because they want another running quarterback like we had with Vic. And I'm like, look, quarterbacks don't grow on trees. You have a MVP quarterback. All right, keep him until he can't play anymore. All right.
Yeah, you can still win with pocket passers like. Guys like Brady and Drew Brees and stuff, they can still get far. Now, of course, it's nice to have someone who can throw on the run like Russell Wilson or Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, but those guys are special, and they don't always come out that often.
Yeah. Rob, he said that dark horse from Atlanta, Robert Sally. I don't think Sally's coming to Atlanta. It's just that right there is just screaming another Dan Quinn to me. And it ain't. I'm not just talking about because he bald headed. It just he has the luxury of playing with. He has the luxury of having a lot of talent on that defensive side of the ball. Most of all his people are either all former All Pro players, Pro Bowlers, or first round picks. So you come into a team who don't have all that luxury. You just have Grady Jarrett and you have Deion Jones. We're not bringing back Keanu Neal. We're not bringing back Ricardo Allen. You know, you still have a young core of DBs. So that's what you have right now.
Yeah, the 49ers defense was absolutely stacked in the front seven. Like
Exactly.
they had a special group there.
Exactly. We don't have that in Atlanta. All right, Rob, he also said that trading Ryan will be difficult with the cap going down to 2021. Yeah, not even just that. Like you gonna eat up a lot of dead cap. That's like I want to say that's like 40 million in dead cap. Like we gonna be if we get rid of him, we gonna be tanking for years. And I'm against tanking. You know, you're not finna, just because you draft someone, drafting Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields, doesn't mean that you gonna be in the playoffs. All right. Z said Matt Ryan, Eberflus is money. He said need TK to find an OC. I don't know what you mean by that, but all right. So, do you think he can come here to Atlanta to fix the defense? This is my last question.
Yeah, I think Atlanta would be a good opportunity for him. Again, I don't think they would need to stretch too far personnel wise to make his defense work. I don't think it would take that long for him to be able to establish it. Again, Atlanta seems like a pretty stable organization. Arthur Blank he doesn't seem like one of those meddling owners. He seems to delegate. Yeah, if Eberflus were to get the opportunity and Atlanta wanted him, I think that would be a decent fit.
I think so too, man. Like I really think that'll work. We just got to get the right GM, man. We can't have another Thomas Dimitroff who just want to focus on one side of the ball, offense, and just ignore the defensive side of the ball. So
well, the Colts actually have one of the hotter GM candidates too, in Ed Dotz.
Ed Dotz.
Yep, he was with Seattle before he came here, so he helped get guys like Russell Wilson and all that. So
yeah,
he'll be a hot name.
I was going to talk to you because I'm going to do some GM scouting as well. I was going to ask you to come back on the show for the Hops too.
Yeah, I got you on that one. Yep.
All right. Rob, he said wild card for 2021 coaching carousel, Jim Harbaugh. Ugh. Look, I'm a Michigan fan myself, and I just don't want Harbaugh coming nowhere near the Atlanta Falcons. The reason why he was good with San Francisco because they had Vic Fangio as their defensive coordinator, and then they led the league. I think they was top. I think they was like in the top 5 in defense in 2011, 2012. So can't ignore
they had an elite offensive line at the time. Yep. They had a guy like Michael Crabtree and Vernon Davis, two of the better players at their position. Frank Gore was running the ball well.
Exactly.
Colin Kaepernick was showing something that teams didn't see a lot. Yep. And it was just kind of the perfect storm there. But Harbaugh, he's got kind of a reputation as a wear out your welcome guy after a few years.
Yeah. And that's the thing I told people, like the offense wasn't like the only thing that was good about the 49ers offense was Frank Gore. That was it. Mm-hmm. He pretty much ran the team. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said Harbaugh's act gets old quick. Yeah, I'm ready for him to leave Michigan. Destroyed the program. Been that too long.
Yeah, I mean, did any of us expect Harbaugh to still be at Michigan after this season? Really?
Man, they kept him around because I guess I don't know. I don't know. I hope they don't use COVID as an excuse to keep him around.
Yeah,
Greg Roman is another name to watch in 2021. Yeah, I'm a pass on that.
Yeah, he's been another one of those long-term assistant coaches whose name's been out there a while, but I don't think he's never been a head coach. I don't think, has he?
I don't think
Or
so.
I'm thinking of Mike Nolan. Same thing though. Yeah.
Yeah, Nolan, he was a head coach in San Francisco.
Yeah.
But yeah, Nolan right now, he's not even doing good with the Cowboys. Ugh.
Yep.
So
Brian Dabble from the Bills is kind of an intriguing name too.
that's another person I'm a scout. I got him on the list. I got a lot of people don't like this name, but Rex Ryan, if he want to come back and coach, I think he'd be good. People can't ignore what he did with that Jets team in 09 and 2010. Another person I'm thinking about is Dino Babers, the head coach for Syracuse. I know
Yeah.
Syracuse not looking good right now because of other reasons, but I think he'd be a good head coach. In the
Yeah.
league. Brian Schottenheimer is another one. Oh yeah, thank you, Rob. Brian Schottenheimer, the Seattle for the Seahawks.
Mm-hmm.
Like pretty much right now, Wilson is playing at the MVP level right now. And yeah, Brian, he was here in Georgia, UGA, for a season, and a lot of people like, I don't want him, but look at what he's doing with Seattle. Look at
Yeah,
what he's
he
doing with
was
Seattle.
here as a quarterbacks coach with the Colts, right? Forget what season, but I think it was right before he left for Seattle. But
Yeah.
a lot of Seattle fans were scared that he's a notorious pound the rock guy, and a lot of Seattle fans were worried that he was just gonna waste Russell Wilson and they just run. But Wilson's having the best season of his career right now.
But what's the problem running the ball? That's what you're supposed to do. Like you run
But
the
like
ball
at a level that's too repetitive and not using a weapon that you have in Russell Wilson as a passer. But he's shown that he can adapt and knows what he has in Wilson as a passer. So he kind of disproved that.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, he improved. Yeah, and I would give him a shot too. But that's another person I'm gonna scout, and I think that's pretty much it. It's just another person is Arthur Smith, the OC for the Titans.
Oh yeah,
So
absolutely. He's a name. Byron Leftwich. That's been out there for a couple years. No. Oh, well, you see him a lot with Tampa then, so you probably know a little bit more.
Yeah, not that performance they had last night. No, I'm good.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So, and I did a show on Airbnb, and I did a show on Dennis Allen, the defense coordinator for the Saints, which I think he should get another shot at the head coach because he didn't get a good shake when he was in Oakland.
No, that he was in a no-win situation there, and that was years ago. But
Yeah,
that, as you mentioned, Bieniemy, if he doesn't have a head coaching job this time next year, I don't know what's going on.
yeah,
He's deserved it for a while.
yeah. I think he should get a shake. I just don't. I don't think he'll fit the Falcons. That's just my opinion. I think the best person is either Don Martindale, Dennis Allen, or Matt Eberflus.
I can see it.
And I see Brian DeBall. Brian DeBall will be another one too. High on my list.
Yeah, it all just kind of depends on your personnel. Like you mentioned, Bieniemy with the Falcons, they could probably make it work, but you just look at some of the unique things they do in Kansas City, and it's like, can you do the same things with that personnel? Maybe, but
yeah. And plus, he's not calling the plays up there in Kansas City neither. That's Andy Reid calling the plays. So
yeah.
So, all right. Well, I appreciate you coming on. Tell them once again who you are, where they can find you at.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thanks for having me. I'm Jake Arthur. I write for Sports Illustrated on their Colts website, allcolts.com. I've also been with the team's official website, colts.com, for the last few years. And I'm the host of the Bleav and Colts podcast on the Bleav Podcast Network. And on Twitter and Facebook, you can find me at Jake Arthur NFL.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on the show, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yes. Well, there y'all go. Hey, if y'all watching this at a later time, let us know how you feel about Matt Eberflus. Everybody on Facebook, because there's a lot of y'all groups who are still high on Airbnb. Look, here you go. All right, watch the show and enjoy it, and it's informative. All right. But everybody else, hey, if you're new to the channel, Hit that subscribe button. Also hit that like button. Share this content out with other Atlanta sports fanatics. I will be back tomorrow. I'm gonna do another head coach scouting show. This time it will be on Rex Ryan. All right. So tune in tomorrow for that. As always, come holla at your hometown sports podcast. This is the Dunn with another episode of the Dunn's Favor. Y'all have a great evening. Y'all stay safe. Don't forget to wear your mask.